So I put it out there. You may have seen I've got a YouTube channel called Bryce Brown. Search Bryce Brown 1, and I've been making some videos called car stories. I'm up to number 3 so far, so check them out. Really cool videos about people and their cars, and I put it out there, should I make one about my own car? And the answer was yes, you should. So this is it. I'm going to really do a real quick fire of the things that I've done to this car. Number 1, the halos. I replaced, or angel eyes, I replaced the bulbs, the old faded yellow bulbs that were in there, with Lux. Beautiful, bright white, in keeping with the Alpine white. Love it. Number 2, fog lamps. I replaced these with LED projector bulbs because they look cool, but you've got to use projector bulbs, otherwise you're going to blind oncoming traffic. These things shine straight ahead. The non-projector bulbs just shine everywhere. Next mod, I replaced my kidney grills with black ones. These are M style, which I really like. The car is a BMW E61 LCI. It had done nearly 100,000 kilometres when I first bought it, and that was 2.5 years ago. I've travelled over 75,000 kilometres in it since I bought it, so on the clock now it's about 175,000 Ks. I installed an AFE cold air intake, as well as a Denon type scoop at the front, ram air type setup to help force the air through into this decent sized pod filter. Maybe added a little bit more power, or that could just be placebo, who knows, but it sounds great. I put the strut brace on. I wasn't sure whether it would be very effective or not, but it is. As soon as I put it on, the steering was just way crisper. I put spacers on all 4 wheels. I've got 20mm on the back and 12mm on the front, and it was just mainly to fix the stance of the car because the wheels were completely lost inside the arches, inside the fenders, and in New Zealand you have to get them certified technically, so I did, and I think it looks great. See the original 18 by 8 inch 135 style wheels, which I was going to change, but I've actually really grown to like them, especially since I changed the stance of the car. Pretty much always run them on Michelin, and I've upgraded recently from Pilot Sport 4 to Pilot Sport 5. Incredible tyre, absolutely love them. Not long after I bought this car, I noticed that it did feel quite soft in the back, and I talked to a local car modification workshop, and they recommended that I change the sway bars, which I did. So it now runs ST suspensions, 28mm on the back, 22 on the front. That made a difference night and day, just really stiffened up the back especially. The next thing we did was to replace the subframe bushings, and we put Powerflex poly bushes on, which once again just stiffened up the whole back end of the car. I've replaced most of the suspension components, so all of the control arms, the end links, the rear control arms, the rose bushes, they're called, just a bit of a silly name, but or rose joints on the rear. We replaced all the shocks with Bilsteins, so B6 on the front, which has really improved the handling of the car on the corners. B4 on the back, because it's almost impossible to get B6 for these, but more than sufficient. The old shocks were absolutely had it, so that was a night and day improvement. Paint was in really good condition when I bought this car. It did need a good cut, and the glass also needed a good polish, which I did with cerium oxide, which is a glass polishing compound. Messy but very effective. So if you've got really badly marked windows, find out about cerium oxide and how to use it properly as well, because it can make quite a mess of your car. Dr. Cut's detail shop in Mount Maunganui, New Zealand. He did an amazing job with the paint, even though it was really good. He did a 2-stage correction and he's coated it with graphene, which is an incredible product. At least 7-year coating. And it's a step up from ceramic coating. Incredible technology. If you don't know what graphene is, just Google it. I bought this car off a car dealer, which is not uncommon. People often do that, but it was actually his car. He imported it from Japan. That's what he does. He imports, a lot of New Zealand car dealers import cars from Japan because fortunately they drive on the left like we do. And he really looked after it. He had it very well serviced, and I have the original service book from Japan as well as all his service history, and I've had it meticulously serviced and maintained since I've owned it. I had Android Auto installed. Hey look, we're in the car, inside it, and I found it really cool. You control it through the iDrive, so you can open YouTube Music or whatever your chosen music app is, Google Maps, which is really good, really loving that, and you can do things like, okay Google, what is a BMW E61?
According to Wikipedia, the 5th generation of the BMW 5 Series executive cars consists of the BMW E60 sedan version and BMW E61 wagon version. Marketed as touring, the E61 generation was produced by BMW from 2003 to 2010 and is often collectively referred to.
Who is Chris Bangle, BMW?
Bangle is known best for his work as Chief of Design for BMW Group, where he was responsible for the BMW, Mini and Rolls-Royce motor cars.
Wow, there's a little bit of information, thank you Google. The other thing I did, which is absolutely amazing, if you don't know about XHP and you drive a BMW with an automatic transmission, find out about it. Honestly, it is, I highly recommend it. It's the transmission tune that transforms your car. So you can change it through, it's not connected at the moment, but you use the app, you use a Wi-Fi plug-in to your OBD port, and you flash tune your transmission. Basically just makes it way sportier. You can select whatever levels you want. I've got stage 3, which is the sportiest, but you can make incremental changes within it as well. So drive is a little bit sharper than normal but not aggressive, and when I put it into sports mode and I really push the car, it just brings the transmission alive. Faster shifts, you're decreasing the torque reduction, so you're getting much more response through to your final drive, rev matching, it just, yeah, transformative. I can't recommend it enough really. I really go on about it, so look into XHP if you've got one of these cars, or automatic BMW. It covers most BMWs now, so yeah, do it. I've done lots of maintenance, lots of replacing parts before they needed doing with this car. Full transmission service at 120,000 kilometers. I've replaced the disvalves. I've, like I say, replaced most of the suspension components. I've replaced the water pump and thermostat, the drive belt tensioner and the drive belt. Lots and lots, the list goes on really. So it's just one of those cars, probably like a lot of cars, you've got to find out what fails ahead of when it fails really, and preemptively replace them. This has got the N52 B25 engine in it, which the N52 is known as being probably one of BMW's most reliable engines, and I would agree, as long as you keep ahead of the maintenance on them. It's not an absolute powerhouse. They came out of the factory 218 horsepower and 0 to 100 in 7.8 seconds is what is the claim. Now this car has done, like I said earlier, 175,000 kilometers. I finally got around to timing it from 0 to 100, 7.6 seconds, which I thought was actually pretty good for a 14-year-old, 15-year-old car. I know that sounds slow in today's terms, but when you look around at other cars around the time, that is actually pretty good performance. And they're quite a torquey engine. Because they're naturally aspirated, that power is available all the time, just so long as you sort of keep your revs up a little bit. You know, they're fine. All the work that I've done on the suspension makes it a pleasure to drive on our numerous country roads here in New Zealand, but when I get onto the expressways and highways, it's a beautiful cruiser as well. So yeah, there's some answers and some information about the BMW E61. This is a 2008 LCI, may have mentioned that. And the LCI, they came out with the bi-xenon headlights and these cool tail lights with these almost like neon bands on the back and LED indicators, a few other bits and pieces. This is the M Sport as well, which I didn't mention. So it's got Motorsport M Sport suspension, sits a little bit lower, and also because I had the Bilstein shocks put on, it's settled down even a little bit lower than factory, which I really like. And it rides incredibly well. Anyway, that's my car, and I've got another video coming up fairly soon once this weather improves. I found someone local who's got two, I won't give away too much, but older BMWs, same model. One of them is completely restored and the other one is a beast. So he's got them stored in his shed near where I live actually, and I have been to see him and I was excited when I saw these cars, so watch out for that video. He's agreed to make the video, and if you're curious as to the normal format of these car stories videos, just have a look on my channel, and while you're there, why don't you subscribe and hit the bell button, and if you like this video, give it the old thumbs up, and we'll see you at the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye.